This is the greatest time of year.
Don't shy away from it. Embrace it.
Emily's finest.
I love playing with UConn.
Believe me, George Mason.
But if it's going to be a winner, why not us?
Mike drop by Lasia.
I couldn't be more proud.
I see y'all. I hear y'all.
Ticket punch going, dancing.
Confetti flies. The tears are rolling.
March Madness, anything can happen.
And there it is, the reaction from the
Hello,
just
beautiful
revealed
people.
full field of
Welcome
16.
to the
Over on E1,
women's
we just showed you the path to
bracketology
Tampa, of
now.
course. That's the host city for the
Welcome
Final
to
Four. I
the
love this.
women's
Kentucky
bracketology.
was getting ready.
So-
They're like, what?
So now here on ESPN 2,
I love that you did it again.
we'll see a lot of
Say less. There it is. You see the bracket. You see the path. Your number one seeds are set. UCLA, South Carolina, Texas.
And this will last
USC,
until
who will make
10
their way
o'clock.
To Tampa and Amalie Arena. They call it Champa Bay because of their recent success. Someone will call themselves a champion in just a couple of weeks from now, and they'll hoist that trophy. Welcome into the E2 audience.
and
That's the one
welcome.
You're listening to Dochi. It's called Extra L. And I feel attacked personally. I'm Elle Duncan.
Look,
we've
we're
got
on
the
ESPN
Women's Basketball
2.
Brain Trust here with us. Andrea Carter, the Hall of Famers, and Carolyn Peck and Rebecca Lobo, a Hall of Famer in my heart
Welcome.
and eyes. Charlie Cream, and another Hall of Famer in Holly Rowe as well, who's standing by. And we're going to get to Holly in just a second because she's standing by with head coach Dawn Staley. We closed the last show by saying we think probably the team going into the tournament with the biggest chip on their shoulder is the defending champs in the Gamecocks. But if you missed any of our previous show, we're going to catch you up on just a few news and notes from the reveal. The top overall one seed, UCLA, first in program history. This adds to an already historic season for the Bruins, who won a program record 30 games and defeated USC for the Big Ten tournament title. South Carolina, as mentioned, gets a one seed for the fifth straight tournament, joining UConn. Tennessee and Notre Dame is the only ones to ever do it 5 consecutive seasons. They're seeking their third title in the last 4 years. Next up is your one seed, Texas. A one seed for the second straight year. They hope to make it to the Final Four the first time since 2003 after falling short last year, losing to NC State in the Elite Eight. And your final one seed, USC. It's also their second straight year as a one seed. First time they've done that in consecutive seasons since the early 80s. It was Cheryl Miller leading the way back then. Holly Rowe standing by with another Hall of Famer in Dawn Staley.
Well, Coach Staley, we're watching the team reaction, and I'm not a body language expert, but I'm just curious, what did you and
Now
the
listen
team think when
to
you
head
hear
coach
that you
Dawn
didn't get
Staley
the
and
number one
Holly
overall
Rowe.
seed, but you are a one seed, and you have a really great path in Birmingham. What was the reaction?
I don't know. I looked back and I saw that they didn't react. I don't even think they knew they were on television. So, and then once they were, they played it cool. I mean, I'm a little bit of surprised because we manufactured our schedule to put ourselves in a position to be the number one overall
And the fact
seed.
is, she grew up,
and I do think if you
born
do,
and raised in
you know,
Philadelphia,
the blind
Pennsylvania,
test,
like me.
put our resume against
Yep,
any other
and she
team
is from
in the
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I do remember
I think you'll
she
pick
used to
us.
coach for
That's
the
just plain and
Temple
simple.
women's
I'm gonna speak
basketball
on it tonight,
team,
and it's not going to be a
and
motivation
she now
of us
coaches the
moving forward.
head coach for
It's
the
hard enough to
University
win
of
a national
South Carolina
championship.
women's
We
basketball.
don't need a chip on our shoulder. We do need to voice it. I do need to voice the fact that we put a schedule together. We got the most quad wins, and if having more quad one wins doesn't supersede some of the hiccups that we had during the season, I don't know what will. So for us, maybe we don't put ourselves in a position where we have hiccups, so we aren't, they don't have to lower the standard for us to get a number one overall seed.
Well, I can speak for fans everywhere when I say no. You set the standard because we liked seeing those early season games and big time matchups, even if there were hiccups, as you call them. You've got to think that it made your team better and a chance to repeat as national champions. It's toughened you for the perfect moment in some respects.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's why we do it. We schedule November and December for March and April. And every single time that we had a hiccup during the season, we've gotten better. And I think to the point of playing our best basketball now, not just collectively, but individuals are playing their best basketball. So, we get a chance to host.
Also,
and,
we
hopefully
have
take
a
care of
men's
business.
bracketology
And,
going to be
we just
happening
put
on
ourselves in a
ESPN
position
2.
to
That's
prove
going
the
to be
committee wrong
up next as we
by
done the
getting back to
women's.
Tampa. If we don't get back to Tampa, then the committee might have a say in it, which we don't want them to have a say in it now that we find out what region we're in and our path to Tampa.
The good news is you'll be in Birmingham if
So,
you take care of your business,
we
like
do
you said, and you're
have
hosting.
like an
And I've seen
AltaCast
what the
that will
fans
be
do. Your fans
will be back
drive
on
to
the
Greenville, South Carolina. That building is
in the
packed
Final
and
Four
electric. What can
and
we
the
look forward
national
to is some kind of
championship,
a
and
home
that
court
will
advantage in
be
Birmingham with the
like we
fans
have
you
watched
and the way they
last
travel.
year. It
I'm
was
super proud that our fans put us in a position where
was
they create a home court
oh
advantage no matter where we are. Greenville, of course, but there were so many fans when we opened the season in Vegas. There are so many fans when we visit Georgia. There's so many fans from wherever we go across the country. We opened the season in Paris. They were there. So I'm happy we're in Birmingham. I'm happy that we're in driving distance because our fans do buy tickets and they do make women's basketball a great place to watch and to support.
All right, so I'm summarizing for you, but no chip, but a ship, right? A ship in the future.
Well played, Holly.
All right, we'll see you, Coach. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Don Staley, legend and Hall of Famer.
That's right. As we come back here to the desk, I want to unpack a little bit of
So
what
as you
Coach
see on the
Staley just
left, it
And
says the
it
Final
feels
Four.
like
That's going to be on the on
incentivizes
April
having such a hard
4th,
schedule
Friday,
if you don't ultimately
between I
get
think
rewarded
7
for
p.m.
what
and
you
9
wish.
p.m.
Well,
and
when you look
we have on
at South
ABC,
Carolina
ESPN,
played
and
19
ESPN
quad
2.
one games. They were 16-3 in those games, and we all enjoy the non-conference season when these top teams play each
We
other.
on ESPN
But if
2
that's
for
gonna
this.
hurt you by you're taking a risk, you're taking a step out to play those games, win or lose, you're playing them, and then that penalizes you in March with the committee. Yeah, that would disincentivize a coach to want to go out and do that. I'm begging Don Staley right now and all the other coaches that did schedule tough, continue to do so because the fans of women's basketball deserve to see great basketball before conference play even starts.
Yeah, but also when we think about that South Carolina UConn game is a gem because it's during conference play. It's one that is such a fun and exciting matchup that we get every single season, and that's the game that to me it seems like the committee is holding against South Carolina. Even though they've been so much better since that loss to UConn, it feels like that's hurting South Carolina the most.
And these are made for TV games. And the made for TV games do what? They grow the sport. And we're in a place with women's basketball right now where we are booming and growing it. It's because coaches, starting with Pat Summitt, were willing to play some of these really tough non-conference games in January and February. What's interesting to me is when we did one of the reveals and the committee was talking about the observable component, which is basically the eye test. Was anyone playing better basketball than South Carolina since that UConn game? I mean, some teams are playing great, UConn was playing really well. But
now,
in the SEC tournament,
the
South Carolina,
Final
both sides of the
Four
basketball, what they
on
were able to
ESPN
do,
2 will be the Brett
surprising.
Rossi
Go
show,
back to
and the
other
championship
piece,
game's
they
going to
need
be
keep
on
playing these
April the
games
6th
to
on
help
ESPN.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, when you take a look though at the other number one seeds, right? We've talked a lot about South Carolina. Who do you think should feel pretty good about their path? Sort of talk about those one seeds, and you can start there with UCLA if you want.
I think of the rest of the number one seeds, I think UCLA has the best path. We talked a little bit about who's going to match up with Lauren Betts within that region, and there aren't that many other post players that can match her size, or at least get physical with her to move her off the block. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage for UCLA. And the UCLA defends very well. And there's also not a lot of teams in there that are going to outshoot UCLA. So I think that's a pretty good path.
I have to give some credit to UCLA because I was very hard.
You really were pretty
Wait,
hard.
very hard. She means she was exasperated. I've never heard Drea yell. She was yelling. She was upset about the way that they were defending Juju. Here's the thing. You talk about UCLA's defense. They defended everybody well except USC and Juju until the Big Ten championship game. And I'm going to give credit where it's due because I just call it how I see it. And I wasn't seeing this in the first two matchups. Watch Juju Watkins here. She catches the ball. This is what we didn't see. Dugalich is guarding Rhea Marshall. She is not paying attention to Rhea Marshall at all. Leaves the paint to crowd Juju Watkins. This is in the first quarter. Make Juju Watkins give up the basketball. Kennedy Smith gets a shot right here. That's fine. It's anybody except an easy bucket for Juju Watkins. She got too many easy ones in game 1 or 2. Here's something else we didn't see. This is a handoff. It can kind of be called like a ball screen. What Dugalich is going to do is come to the level of the ball screen. She's not in drop coverage. Juju escapes it because she's athletic and she's crafty with the ball in her hands. But what does Juju not do? She doesn't take the shot. Rhea Marshall misses it. And then here, Lauren Betts out of the paint. We haven't seen this very often all season, and we did not see it. 2 on the ball, pressure on Juju Watkins. She's that talented. She's that good. You get the rotation on the backside. You leave the furthest player away from the ball. That's fine. That's what it looks like when you execute defensively, and you give 2 to one of the best players in the game. So I was hard on UCLA, but I'm going to give credit where it's due because that's great defense against a great player.
Credit Corey Close for her game plan. She went from doubling T at times to playing a box and 1 at times. How about this stat? USC in the fourth quarter made their first field goal with 1:12 left. That is how good UCLA's defense was in terms of limiting USC, except at the free throw line in the fourth quarter.
And in the first time that they played, when USC won, nobody but Juju Watkins scored a basket in the second and the third quarters. That's not usually a good formula for any team to win a game. They only have one person scoring buckets. But it worked that night because Juju was just that good, and UCLA couldn't stop her.
You know who else is the number 1 seed and has a really, really good defense? Texas. And Holly Rowe is joined now by the head of that monster and the SEC Player of the Year.
Uh-oh. She's now joined by the head of monster.
Hey,
it was Madison Booker. Let's listen in.
I see you're having some sort of snack. Was it a good watch party?
Yes, it was.
Okay, good. How
Great
much
environment.
Good environment. I heard a lot of people were there. How excited are you
And again,
for this run? I know last year you were a freshman. It was all new, but this experienced Texas team, a number 1 seed. Tell me how excited you are for kind of another round.
Yeah, I just think this team is definitely excited just to be able to host for our fans. I mean, they come out and give us so much each night at home. So I just, be able to give back and be able to host, for the first 2 rounds, just for them, it means a lot to us.
You were able to get a piece of that SEC regular season championship for the first time, obviously in school history. Your team really put it together late in the season. Big win over South Carolina at home. What do you think you found? What is the vibe that's connecting the Longhorns right now?
I think we just have to, keep our identity, just stay true to our identity basically, and that's defense and it's team defense. I think once we start getting stops on that end, it translates to offense, and I think it's different for us. It's a great team. We start putting points on the board, and we get back on defense, start making stops. So I just think with those 2 hand in hand, I think we're a different team.
Coach Schaefer would love that answer that you started with defense first. Good job. I know that the bracket came out. You guys kind of see your path to a Final Four and a possible championship. I know you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but what was some of the
now the
conversation
Final
like
Four
about,
is
this path
going to
looks good
be
for us
on
and
Friday,
where do you
April the
think it's going?
4th. Then the championship, or the national championship, will be on April the 6th at 3 p.m. And
it's one team at a time. We don't even know who we're playing right now. So I just think, right now we're just practicing on, kind of fixing mistakes and stuff that we've seen in this past conference. So I just think that staying humble, staying true to our identity, and, just having fun with it.
You are a player that stays so humble, but you are so brilliant and great. I've seen you have incredible games this year. Coming off the SEC championship game, tough shooting performance for you. How do you kind of react in a resilient way when you got to get something fixed? Because we've seen you do that this year.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to stay true to yourself. I know Coach Sherry has a plan for this team. I know, we're going to bounce back from that loss. I mean, I just think, it was just another lesson learned that day. And just, not for me, but for the team, for the staff too. Just see what we can change, what can we fix. But I mean, we have to just like go back to the drawing board, start over right now, and see what's working for us and what's not.
Okay, well, we know this. It is going to be lit in Austin. Your fans are going to come out. It is the best college basketball environment west of the Mississippi, I'm going to say, because Columbia, South Carolina is pretty good too. But have fun out there, and we're so grateful you joined us. Get ready to ball out and shine bright. Thank you, Madison.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. Listen, we do know that number 1 seeds make a strong case for winning the Natty, but what about those 2 seeds? We will debate who we think has a puncher's chance of heading to Tampa and winning it all as you take a look at the full field that was just revealed. The road to Tampa and the Final Four officially begins on Thursday. Stick around.
We'll stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Women's Bracketology is presented by Lowe's. We help, you save.
Yeah.